So if you're thinking about moving to DC, Maryland, Virginia, or in this case, Lovettsville, Virginia, this is the video for you because today at Open House, Charles sits down with Scott to talk about everything that there is to know about living in Lovettsville. And if you find this helpful, go ahead and watch the rest of our videos because every single day, we're helping folks from out of state learn about where to move and who to call when they want to make a smooth move to the DMV. And if you would like us to help you find your next home, go ahead and send us a text, give us a call, or book a video call using the link in the description below. And with that, let's get into the conversation between Charles and Scott about Lovettsville.
Hello, my name is Charles with Open House Media, and if you're ready to take a deep dive into what it's like to work and live in Lovettsville, Virginia, you found the right video because I have Scott Hunt with me, and he's a licensed real estate agent who specializes in helping people get familiar with and move into the area. So if you're considering moving to Lovettsville, then you're in the right place. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Scott, thanks very much for being with me here today.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
So how long have you been a realtor?
12 years full time. So it's been it's a very rewarding career. I get to meet lots of people. Most of them become friends, and that's one of my favorite parts of this job. And just helping them get into the right home, not just any home, and see them satisfied. So.
How long have you lived in the Lovettsville area?
6 years. So.
Okay. What made you get into real estate to begin with?
Well, I was in telecommunications for 24 years, and so my managers said I cared too much, and so that attitude has transferred over to my real estate career, and it was more personal. I could interact with people. Just, you know, I'm a people person. Don't you hate that saying? But nevertheless, my wife and I had planned on moving to Marseille to help a small church there. It was the original thought, and the idea was that real estate would allow me the freedom to get some additional schooling and preparation for that. So,
gotcha. Well, very cool. So let's talk a little bit about the culture of Lovettsville. So what's it like there? Is it a city, suburban, rural, small town? What do we have going on there?
Well, it's wonderful. You have a rich mix of all types of people. You have government workers. You have people who are still working the farms around the community. It's a small town with pretty much everything you need. And it's wonderful that it's been able to maintain that small town feel. There's a lot of life here, a lot of activities. I'm sure we'll discuss those at some point in this conversation. So
yeah, let's dive into it. Let's talk a little bit about the history. What's the story behind Lovettsville? Where has it been? Where do you see it going in the future?
Yeah, well, back in 1722, the Treaty of Alban was enacted, and what that did was that used the Blue Ridge Mountains to the west of town as the buffer between Native American Indians, primarily Iroquois, and the white settlers. And so in 1732, the Germans, who had fled the wars in Germany, the 100 Years' War, the 30 Years' War, many other wars, they first went to England, but work was hard to find there. So they migrated here to the United States, the colonies at that point, and primarily to Pennsylvania. And once the Treaty of Alban was in place, people could move down to the Shenandoah Valley. And that's when the Germans started migrating down here to northern Loudoun. Rich soil, so great for farming. They found it very suitable for what they needed, what they wanted. And then after that, the German settlement, as it was called, was established in 1732. And so they brought all the artisans, blacksmiths, just everybody they needed to start the community. Now in 1820, David Lovett, who had a fair-sized parcel of land, subdivided that into quarter-acre city lots, as he called them. And after that, the building boom began, and that put what was then known as Newtown on the map. So people, started coming to the area during the Civil War. Okay, the Lovettsville, this side of the Catoctin Mountains, north of what is now Route 7, was primarily loyalist to the Union. And so the Quakers in Waterford and here in Lovettsville, they joined what was called the Independent Virginia Rangers. It was the only regiment of Union troops formed in Virginia during the war. So, they were involved in battles in Waterford where brother fought against brother because it was very divided. But yeah, we remained loyalists. In fact, there's a road east of Waterford known as Loyalist Road to kind of harken back to that time. So not much in the way of battles were fought here, though it changed hands many times. Now, while the Confederates liked to cross the Potomac down at White's Ferry and White's Ford, and Edwards Ferry, the Union liked to use cross at Brunswick, which was then called Berlin. And so they did that on two occasions. Once in 1862, after the Battle of Antietam. There's plenty of battlefields in and around the area. If you're a history buff, it's really kind of neat. And then again after Gettysburg in 1863. So they occupied George's farm. Now you got to go see George's farm. Okay, it's now a bed and breakfast. Beautiful stone buildings, got the stone walls, very period, if you will. The Union Army occupied the farm. And so now they have a country store. This is kind of funny. Country store out front. And this couple, neighbors of ours, had their parents come in from the Queens. And they took them to the country store. And the dad he started saying, well, they got to have cameras in here. It's an unmanned store. It works on the honor system, which tells you a little bit about the character of the area. And you have to go to one of the barn dances. Okay, the Short Mountain Boys usually play the music. They bring their fiddle and their one-string bass, made of a broomstick and a metal bucket, and it's just a good old time. So me and my wife love to go there. It runs from April to November. So, be sure to check your calendars and be sure to go. It's just a whole lot of fun. But so it's still a working farm. They have quality meats and cheeses and eggs, and you just go put your money through the slot and you're on your way. So the area really started to grow towards the turn of the century. And so they had 5 stores, 3 blacksmith shops, a fertilizer shop, a livery stable, and the Reamer's Hotel, plus a jail and 5 churches. And they eventually had a number of car dealers, the big 3, Ford, Chrysler, and Chevrolet. I think we're going to become a very popular destination. This is already happening for those who just want to get out of the city, but yet have the conveniences and the reach to get into, all that Washington and Northern Virginia offers.
Gotcha. So it seems like it's really steeped in some really good, rich history, for the history buffs out there who might want to go check out some of that stuff. So if somebody wanted to, learn more about the history of Lovettsville, where would they go?
We have the Lovettsville Historical Society. It's a museum. It's right in downtown over by the town hall. This used to be a meat shop. It was Potterfield's meat shop. So after the Civil War, Mr. Potterfield started a meat business, and Lovettsville was one of its locations. You'll find a lot of artifacts and items showing you the heritage of Lovettsville, and it's just a fascinating place. It's also a venue where you can listen to lectures on the history of the area, not just Lovettsville proper, but the area. And so fascinating lectures. Be sure to check that out.
I noticed that you mentioned that there's a lot of people that move there who want to get out of the big city and have more of that rural, country type of feel to it. So people that live in Lovettsville, are they commuting to like DC or other areas, or did they tend to work in that area?
I would say both, and many work from home. So I had one client who commuted to Springfield, which that's a little bit of a trip, but he loved the area so much he said he was never going to leave. And then he met a girl. Okay, and I sold his house. So, so we with high-speed internet available in most communities, it's easy to work from home. We have people who commute, a lot of government workers. A lot of people will commute into Washington using the MART train, which is they jump on at the Brunswick station. So they enjoy that. Or they may use the Loudon connector if you're going into Arlington, Washington, D.C., the Federal Triangle, Crystal City, the Pentagon. And while I've never used the service, a lot of my clients just love it because they can either sleep, read a book, do some work on it. They have Wi-Fi on the bus, and just enjoy that while not putting miles on their own cars. And then
Gotcha.
To get into Ashburn, where many of the local residents work, and Reston, those places, it's about a half-hour drive, 45 minutes maybe, depending on traffic. Okay. So, yeah.
And that's to DC itself? Is that
DC,
how far is it?
Yeah, depending on what day you go. My wife sold cybersecurity and would have to go in for meetings. And depending on the time of day you go, it can take anywhere from an hour and a half and up to 2 hours to get in. The train will get you there a little bit quicker.
So let's talk about schools for a little bit. How do the public schools rank, and are there any charter or specialty schools?
I've had people actually move to the area, for the schools, especially Lovettsville Elementary, getting out of the gangs and drugs and everything else that are common down in the city, the big city, if you will. But they've just loved Lovettsville Elementary. And that is rated a B+ on niche.com. Now, I've had families move within the area, and they've insisted that we stay in the boundaries of Harmony Elementary, which serves Lovettsville proper, because they are just well pleased with it, also rated a B+. And then Woodgrove High School is an A, and I have many people just very well pleased with that as well. In terms of specialty schools, we're blessed to have Montessori, Lovettsville Montessori here. Everybody knows of the excellence of their education. We have the Lovettsville Schoolhouse, which is actually a daycare center, so don't be confused by that. But in nearby Percival, we have the Next Tide Academy for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and Percival Children's Academy, specializing in just excellent preschool education.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the fun and entertaining things to do in Lovettsville. What kind of restaurants and bars are nearby? Is there a plethora of restaurants around town? What do you have going on there for entertainment?
Yeah, what kind of restaurant do you like? We have just more than you would expect. We have 5-star dining in town at Market Street Bistro. Me and my wife love to go there for special occasions. Outside of town, we have Potomac Farm, which is a farm-to-table type restaurant, and that is very high-end dining. In town, we have Mediterranean at Andy's, live music on Thursdays during season. And then we have Mexican at Rodeos. We have pizza and Italian at Rasco's. We have burgers and wings at Velocity. We have Thai at Daughter Thai. We have Asian at Cassia Asian Bistro. And nearby, one of my favorite places to go across the bridge is Beans in the Belfry, which is an old church with a very eclectic, feel to it. They also have live music on Thursdays. And if you want to go south to Percival, you have 960-degree pizza. You have Magnolias and other Mexican restaurants. You've got a lot nearby, and it's still within easy reach of Leesburg and all its fine dining. So,
yeah, it sounds like there's a little bit of something for every palate out there. That sounds great. So, what about wineries, breweries, distilleries? Do you have any of that going on there?
Well, Loudon is known as the Napa Valley of the East. So we have just a ton of wineries around here. Neighbors will rent limousines and go tour to wineries. It's a lot of fun there. So you have Duquesne, you have Hiddencroft. We've got now I don't drink, so please forgive me if I can't remember all the names, but we have Brewdog here in town, makes some fine brews from what I know. Also is the Flying Ace Farm Distillery. That's a working farm, 200 acres, 200 years old, excuse me, just south of town. So you got a lot if you enjoy your adult beverages. So.
Oh yeah, that sounds great. So, are there any concert halls or sporting arenas for people who are, into music or maybe sporting events, or is there anything like that nearby?
Well, we have the pavilion in town, and during the summer and spring and summer months, there's a variety of bands that will come and play there, and it's just a big hit with everybody in town. Everybody brings their lawn chairs and folds them out and just dances and have fun, so we have that. In terms of sports arenas, not so much, but you don't really need it here. It's a quality of life is good without it. So
Right, or maybe go check out the local high school football on Friday night, right?
yeah, there we go. So
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Little small town feel next to the big cities is wonderful. So for people with pets, are there any attractions or anything like that for, dogs, cats, horses, people who have the pets? What do they have to do around there?
yeah, sure. So the recently completed Lovettsville Community Park has riding trails, a riding ring. There's a big unleashed dog park as well. It's very sizable compared to other dog parks I've seen. And you also have sports fields there for every type of sport: soccer, lacrosse, baseball, football. It's all right there. Yeah, and then around town, Loudon is known as horse country, so it's kind of fun. I like driving up Berlin Turnpike, Route 287, and just seeing all the riding rings and horses on either side of the road. I just love the feel. So there are plenty of barns and stables around the area if you need somewhere to board your horses.
So what about people with kids? What kind of things are there for the little ones to do?
So if they're not playing sports, you may find them or riding bikes in the neighborhood. Me and my wife were sitting on the front porch not too long ago, and watching the kids play out front, and just they were free. The community is so safe. It was as though it was decades ago when we used to just run around and not have to worry. So there's a lot of that. But the Lovettsville Community Center, which has recently been renovated, has a pool. There's tennis. There's programs for all ages. There's daycare and certified preschool classes if you need. So you may find them there as well. So
it sounds like a really wonderful place to live at, kind of, going back to the age where nobody locked their doors and everybody knew everyone, and, everybody kind of looked out for each other's kids. That's really great.
Yeah.
That's
well,
really wonderful.
We hear about what the neighbor kids are doing on our community page. Yeah. So it's really good how everyone does watch out for each other. So
yeah, that is good. That's great. We need a lot more of that, these days for sure. So as far as events, are there any special local events like county fairs, festivals, races, things like holiday events?
Oh, absolutely. We're with the German heritage that we enjoy here. There's the world famous Oktoberfest. Got to go. You got to watch the exhilarating wiener dog races. Dance to some polka. We do have contemporary music as well. You can dance to. Be sure to get one of the German donuts, a sausage, a beer. That is a big event here in town and just a lot of fun. During Memorial Day, we have Mayfest. It's known as America's largest picnic, and a lot of live music at the pavilion. We have sack races for the kids. There's some games for the adults as well, and it's just a great community gathering. So beyond that, we have car shows every so often at the Lovettsville Game Preserve Association. And that's also the site where the carnival shows up every year. So, good old family fun there and good fair food, which I always enjoy, much to my wife's dismay. And we also, this year, we have during Oktoberfest, Wings and Wheels is taking place. And that's going to feature German heritage cars and planes. So,
Okay. So that's kind of like I guess, the annual kind of thing, the car show that comes through.
They started it the last time we had Oktoberfest, and so now this will be the second annual, and they anticipate continuing that as far as we can see.
Gotcha. What about like musical events? Is there any like college classical concert series or bands, musical festivals, things like that going on?
Yeah, you'll see various people out playing on the pavilion again. The pavilion's a real community central location. A lot of events take place out there. When the Capitals won the Stanley Cup, that was the site for a lot of celebrations, some music, and we all dressed in our Capitals gear. And we were actually, the name of the town was changed from Lovettsville to Capitalsville for the season. So during the playoffs and afterwards, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, so you'll have some school bands play out there from time to time.
Let's talk about people that want to get away from the neighborhood and get out into nature. And are there any like lakes, rivers, waterfalls? What kind of stuff is there? Kind of outdoor activities to do?
Yeah, well, we have the Potomac River just north of us. There are outfitters that can accommodate kayaking, tubing, and canoeing. The Shenandoah River is very close as well, and that's well known for canoeing. So that's the big waterway. If you wanted to fish, again, you can fish at the new community park, and certainly you can fish on the river.
Gotcha. So with trails or parks, is there like places to go biking, jogging, things like that?
Yeah. So I need to mention, one of my favorite trails is the C&O, Canal, which was the towpath for the C&O Canal back in the day. And so that my wife and I love to jump on our bikes and ride that into Harper's Ferry and get lunch and tour the town. It's just a very historic town. The town itself town of Lovettsville just recently completed an 8-foot wide biking path, if you will, suitable for walking, jogging, rollerblading. It goes up and down Berlin Turnpike, so you can safely, enjoy those activities here in town as well. And then, as I mentioned, there's trails at the community center for riding horses and hiking, jogging, whatever you care to do. So yeah, we have a bit around here.
Got it. Very good. So let's talk a little bit about the housing there. What kind of homes can you find in Lovettsville?
Well, primarily colonial. We have quite a mix of styles, if you will. This area has more ranch style homes, which is good for baby boomers like me who are aging. If you need that main floor master, much more available here than say in town. So we have historic homes. I recently showed a home built in 1812. It was beautiful, and my clients would have bought it if it only had air conditioning. You can find anything from a shack that needs a little bit of work, and at very good prices, to $1 million plus homes. So a wide variety of homes.
What would you say is the predominant style there? Is it the colonial kind of feel? Is that the predominant?
It is. Yeah. So, I once I understand my clients' wants and needs, I can help them find the right home, no matter what the style.
Gotcha. So, what is the median home price in Lovettsville?
The median home price is $811. Okay, but you can find anything from the 300s, up to $3.2 million home was recently sold here in the area as well. So, but $811,000 is the median home price.
Okay. Gotcha. So for that median home price, about how much house could someone get, would you say?
Oh, yeah, sure. You're talking, 5,000 square feet, plus, and, you add the basement in there. There's some very nice large homes if that's what you want.
Gotcha. And if somebody was a little bit more budget conscious, could they get a nice little 3-bedroom, 2-bath? What kind of price range could they find a nice home for?
Well, that's exactly what we have, and that will go anywhere from 500,000 to the mid sixes.
Okay, gotcha. So what's the median income in the area?
The median income is about 124,000. Okay. Now you have a variety of people here. Some very content hourly workers that live, make a modest living and just love the town. And you have multimillionaires that have fallen in love with the area. It's just a beauty. And again, the more relaxed lifestyle with all the fun. So.
Gotcha. So that's great. So if you had one tip that you would give to a prospective buyer before they move to Lovettsville, what would it be?
Get ready to fall in love with Lovettsville. I mean, it's a place like none other. It really is. So.
Okay, so I want to thank you very much, Scott, for being on, and I appreciate everyone, who's watched this video to this point. And if you're considering moving to Lovettsville, Virginia, then please look down below the video and you'll find Scott's contact information there. And, he'd be glad to help you find that perfect home in Lovettsville, Virginia.
Yeah, I look forward to showing you all the wonders of this area and becoming a new neighbor. So thank you very much for having me.
All right. Thanks very much. I appreciate your time today.